let's talk Thursday Night Football. This should be. I'm being so negative about these damn Cardinals, but this should be a pretty fun game. NFC West game. We got Seahawks. We got Cardinals. Pretty decent total on it, 43.5. The Seahawks are 1.5 point road favorites. And, for all the doom and gloom I had about the Cardinals, I really love what's going on in Seattle right now. I think his team, pretty cool. Pretty cool buttoned up operation. I'll give you credit on this. You're the one who called them the winners of the NFC West for Football 301. I do love the way Jackson Smith-Njigba is dealing right now. Hey, this is why sometimes guys break out in the third year. Maybe Harrison's the third year breakout guy. Wouldn't that be perfect? Mm-hmm. The best wide receiver prospect since this, that, and the other, whatever people want to say, ends up being like the classic third year breakout receiver. That would be rather funny. But yeah, JSN's taking his game to another level here. I think the run game, it's been better than it was. There's still some nits I think you can pick, but I have faith that can get better over the course of the year. The defense is really good, and Nate, I almost feel like Sam Darnold we're just like not even talking about anymore. He went from a guy that everybody hyper fixated on week to week, you oligarchs, the Sam Darnold oligarchs that you guys had your moment in the sun, and now he's just kind of along for the ride there for a good Seahawks team.
Yeah, and chucking it. He has the highest explosive play rate, third highest explosive pass rate so far this season. He's on pinning that thing and chucking it. And this is why he went to a Kubiak, or a Shanahan is like this offensive system fits him perfectly. Get the throw on the move a bunch, get to kind of, point and shoot on a lot of the plays. They don't use play action at a super high rate, but he does push the ball in play action. He's averaging the most yards per attempt on play action passes this year. Which is like, oh, no kidding, Kubiak offense. But it's like, yeah, this is what I was hoping to see, but this is an interesting battle with the Cardinals, but really just focus on the Seahawks. Of course, a ton of zone runs. Their offensive line is way improved. Gray Zabel, their left guard, is phenomenal. Like he's already a hit. You can tell Charles Cross with some steadiness next to him. It's like, oh yeah, you're like a Pro Bowl quality left tackle. They're figuring out the other guys. Abe Lucas is healthy, playing well. They're, the center, Sundell, does some nice things, but can get overmatched sometimes, especially him in the right guard. But I do think it's way better than it was last year, which was probably the worst or second worst offensive line with, or maybe bottom 3, bottom 4. Now I'm thinking about it, but along with the Vikings that it ended up. So Sam Darnold was probably used to that. So even if it's average, this is a big improvement for him. But we talk about the JSN usage is kind of what I envisioned. I mean, maybe the high end of what I thought the range would be. You can tell they're figuring out or getting the auxiliary receivers involved, including AJ Barner, Tory Horton, a Football 301 favorite and reception perception favorite, I believe. And also and even Cooper Kupp is getting used as kind of a tight end, like a true tight end now. Mm-hmm. And so he has a nice role, even if fantasy, he's not very fantasy relevant, maybe, sporadic touchdown or everything. But man, this offense is truly like, it's like really coming together. They still have some weaknesses. There's still going to be some imperfections in the run game, but Darnold's being a good operator and really just this whole system's kind of clicking.
Oh, man, yeah, it's just so well put together. I like how you highlighted Cooper Kupp as kind of a almost like a tight end. When they signed him, I remember thinking, I don't know if I said this to you or if it was, James Coe's the other Sam Darnold oligarch in my life. So I can't remember if it was one of you two guys I said this to last year, but I was like, I don't think Cooper's got much left to give. Like I think they need another guy on the outside, which we'll talk about Tory Horton here in a second, kind of becoming that guy. But Cooper Kupp could just be, hey, when Sam Darnold starts to go on the fritz because there's some pressure, like he knows he's got a reliable guy out there in the flats to just dump that thing off to. And there's not been a lot of production, but a couple of moments like that is just helpful to keep Sam Darnold coloring inside the lines, which is basically what you just want from him in this system. Tory Horton, did you see Clint Kubiak's comparison for him today yesterday at the press conference? Clint Kubiak was asked, what rookie, is there any rookies that remind you of Tory Horton? And he gives kind of a smile. And he's like, well, I'm not going to say the player, but very similar. And he goes in and talks about preparation, dedication to the game, the way they study, all that stuff. And then he eventually says, well, the player's Justin Jefferson, which, of course, then it gets
Oh, I thought there was going to be some cool one, like some old Texans player or something. Like, No.
So, of course, it gets aggregated as well. You compare it to Justin Jefferson. But truthfully, it was, just a highlight of how he prepares and like works at the game and is dedicated to it, which I think we've seen so far. I like the role that they've got him in right now as kind of that speed vertical guy. Scores a touchdown last week, has a special teams touchdown. How do you, either of these two offenses, do you see like a mismatch for one of the other in how they can attack these defenses? Because both these defenses have been good, and I kind of think this is going to be a lower scoring game, even if there's some exciting offensive players. But two good defenses here. Do you see like either side of the ball a potential mismatch for this?
That an auxiliary receiver like Horton would be one, because just the Cardinals have some corner injuries. Max Melton's playing, but Garrett Williams is on IR. And Will Johnson's battling an injury and hasn't practiced, I think, this week as well. Rookie standout, but has an injury history. So down a couple of starting corners. So I'm going to look at who are your secondary receivers. That's kind of my natural eyes go-to. And while the Cardinals' pass defense has been a little shoddy so far, but they really haven't let up as many explosive passes as I thought, maybe on just first eye test. They're allowing the 7th lowest explosive pass rate according to Next Gen Stats, but they have hurt corners. So that's where I'm looking, again, auxiliary receivers, because the Cardinals have been really good against the run this year, which has kind of been, they added a whole bunch of new faces. Josh Sweat's been phenomenal. Dalvin Tomlinson's been good. Calais Campbell, the ageless Calais Campbell's been good. Young guys are stepping up. Darius Robinson, Jordan Burge, some other guys they have been playing well as well. Baron Browning, Mac Wilson. I could just go on and on. I'm watching way too much Cardinals. But their run defense has been stout. They give issues. This entire defensive structure, how they use Budda Baker, is to use Budda Baker to insert against Kubiak Shanahan offenses. Like, they're very good against zone runs. They have allowed only a 30% success rate to zone runs this year, according to FTN. Seahawks, of course, Kubiak, top 10 in usage on zone runs, top 10 in EPA per rush on zone runs, middling success rate. They're kind of like all their numbers right now. But this Cardinals defense is pretty good against that because they're built this way. This is how they use Budda Baker. The inserts. It's pretty kind of cool. It's very unique. I know you're supposed to just say unique, but it is very unique, like how they use their guys. But so to me, though, that's the natural advantage, is trying to find someone to go in against one of these corners as a backup. And to me, that is Tory Horton, because he's given secondary players, backup corners and second corners, a lot of issues with his speed and ball skills so far.
No question. Way better than a 5th round pick. So kind of got to adjust that in your mind a little when we're talking about him as an impact guy. Just an awesome.
Late second, early third grade, man. And a half.
Same. That's exactly where I had it.
I remember.
I had him priority.
That was one of my favorite processes, because we both scouted him like individually, like the same couple of weeks. Then we like kind of got back together to talk about him. And I was like, pretty good, right? Like pretty good stuff.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I think Seattle wins this game. Yeah. But I like your Tory Horton over 22.5 receiving yards as well for all of the reasons there. So it's very low. So who do you think wins this game, real quick?
I do think Seahawks do, because I just think they're in a better position right now. Cardinals are still figuring out their way, while I think the Seahawks offense kind of knows what they are. And then I also think the defense is a true strength. Even, I don't know if Devin Witherspoon is playing yet, who's a slot, but man, this defensive front is so good right now, and they're so smart. So I think this Seahawks right now, even though I do think maybe a couple weeks down the road it could be a little bit more interesting.